hackers revealed by the Australian Federal Police to be Russian this morning followed up on a promise to release the entire stolen database of Medibank, Australia's largest private health insurer. Business Editor Ross Greenwood joins me now. Ross, what will the fallout from this be?
Well, it's got to be significant, quite clearly. These are the records of 9.7 million people. Medibank had previously said that there were people who would be in danger if this information was released. Well, it's been released in its entirety today. So while it's on the dark web, the problem here is not the fact that the data is out there. It's the fact that others may now access it to try to extort people who are on that list. This information is for those who are technically literate, and can I just say there will be a whole bunch of people who would be capable of being able to get access to it, really could compromise the safety of some people and certainly the privacy of all of those people on that list. And the interesting side about this is just in regards to the Federal Police and Medibank say they continue to be vigilant. Today, the Medibank Chief Executive, David Kochkar, put out a statement and effectively said to people, you know, that they remain vigilant, that they're doing everything they can do to support customers. But it's also important that people stay vigilant to any suspicious activity online or over the phone. In other words, Medibank's kind of saying, well, over to you. We're doing everything we can at our end, but you're now on your own. You've got to kind of look out for your own privacy and your own security here. And this is the real problem. It is the subsequent potential breaches that will take place and the way in which people may either be attempted to be extorted or indeed to have that information used in an adverse way that is the real troubling worry of this data being released today.
You've been talking to class action lawyers about this. So what's your gut feeling? Will Medibank pay a heavy price for the biggest and most sensitive data leak in history? And what does that mean for consumers?
My sense is no. This is the really serious issue of all of this. The grounds for class actions are very limited in Australia right now. They could go through the Office of the Information Commissioner, but that is under-resourced and it takes a long, long time to get through there. Certainly class action lawyers are looking to take that avenue, but already there are cases in there that go back 4 years that have not been resolved, and they're minor compared with what's happened here. So the real issue for Australia right now is our law has not kept up to date with the potential danger and harm that can come from such breaches. And really, this is something that the government has got to work on as rapidly as it possibly can. It's not good enough to simply go out there and call people scumbags and to be, you know, sort of, if you like, trying to shame somehow the hackers. They're not for shaming. The reality is that what you've got to do is to take action against companies in Australia that allow such data breaches to take place, because the reality is this is not the last data breach, and indeed more companies in the future are going to be subject to similar actions.
Yeah, OK. Wow. Overnight, markets did jump after the US Federal Reserve gave a big sign that supersized rate rises are coming to an end. That is the important bit, coming to an end in the US. So how did the local market react?
Well, OK, but not ending completely. And I'll tell you what, I'll go straight here to Jerome Powell, because it was his comments overnight that really set the market alight. The Dow Jones index up by more than 2% overnight. And really, remember that as compared with Australia, where we're now seeing 0.25% rate rises, inflation yesterday down, in the United States, their rate rises have still been 0.75%. So let's go to Jay Powell overnight, and here's a little of what he said.
It is far too early to declare goods inflation vanquished, but if current trends continue, goods prices should begin to exert downward pressure on overall inflation in coming months.
But he said, hey, listen, while we're actually prepared to maybe back off on these supersized rate rises, don't imagine that these rate rises are coming to an end, and don't imagine that we're not going to keep these rates higher for longer. This is again what he said.
Monetary policy affects the economy and inflation with uncertain lags, and the full effects of our rapid tightening so far are yet to be felt. Thus, it makes sense to moderate the pace of our rate increases as we approach the level of restraint that will be sufficient to bring inflation down. The time for moderating the pace of rate increases may come as soon as the December meeting.
OK, so that's interesting, even though delivered in a very non-interesting way, but I guess he's got to do it like that. We saw monthly inflation data out yesterday. The first time we've seen this is, you know, not a lot of history behind it. We usually get it quarterly. Are we reading much into that? Are the markets looking at that as well?
Lots of people are reading lots into it. Do remember one small thing, Laura, here. It wasn't adversely affected or significantly affected by energy prices. That's still to come. And so as a result, do understand that it has not gone away. These monthly data at this stage is not really as comprehensive as the quarterly data. You'd really want to see the quarterly data. Let's have a look at the markets today. Here's what's happened on the opening. Up by more than 1% after that big jump in Wall Street overnight. Aussie dollar also is being affected by what's taking place around the place. And so as we sit here and speak, the Aussie dollar sitting up near 68 US cents. So in other words, Laura, the market has basically responded to those comments from Jerome Powell.
Okay, nice one. Ross, thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Okay.